Dear students, today we will have a video lecture on our communication topic. First of all, we will learn or we will understand what is the definition of communication. As we are here having PPT, that definition of a communication. What is a communication? I hope all of you know that we are communicate daily with our friends, with our colleagues, with our parents, brother, cousin, everywhere we are communicating. But scientifically, we don't know what is the meaning of communication. We are having here the root word of communication. What is the root word of a communication? The root word of a communication, it is here hidden in Latin word communicare. Its meaning is to make common, to many share. How? To share your ideas, your thoughts with next person, to a single person or for a mob, that is a communication. Therefore, communication is the process of sharing thoughts, ideas and feelings with each other in commonly understandable ways. See, what is the word? Commonly understandable ways. Where when we are sharing our thoughts, ideas and feelings to each other, that time we have to use such a way that whatever we are telling to the next person, that student, that person, that media, the way must be understandable. That person, that should be understand the content. This is the meaning of our communication. In our next slide, we will have, see, for more understanding, see here, this is a picture of people or the colleagues. They are gathered here and they are talking. Here one person is sitting in center. She is communicating with other people. She is talking. She is communicating. She is sharing her ideas. The rest of the people are listening and they are trying to understand. Means when there is a part of understanding, it means feedback is coming to the person who is sending that message. That is completion of a communication. That is the process. So now we will go for the process of communication. Everyone, whenever we are studying any topic, we have to study scientifically. And now we are going for the process which will help us to understand what is meant by communication. Here is the communication process and the process, the feedback. See here everyone, communication process, sender, encoding, message, channel, receiver, decoding, and the last one is feedback given to a sender. This is known as communication process. Now in detail we will go one by one the steps of communication process. See here, steps. Is it? Next, one by one we will understand what is the role of the process, the topics which are covered in a process. First one is sender. Sender is a person or a message who is giving, that is who is sending the message, that is known as sender. The sender or the communicator generates the message and convey it to the receiver. He is the source and the one who starts the communication. One who starts the communication, that is known as sender. This is our first one process, first step in the process. Next element in a process is message. Means the content. What the message is going to be told by the sender. The message, it is the idea, information, view, fact, feeling, etc. that is generated by the sender and is then intended to be communicated further. You know it very well. We are having various lectures. In that various lectures, we are learning various topics. Means your teachers are teaching a particular topic, that is the teacher is a sender, and the message, the topic what that teacher is teaching, that is a message is sending. To whom? See here. Next, to the students. Now the next step, the third step in a communication process is encoding. This is the process step third. The message generated by the sender is encoded by symbolically, such as in the form of words, pictures, gestures, etc. before it is being conveyed. Before it is conveyed means encoding is that when the message, the content, in what form of the content message is given to the next person with the help of words, with the help of picture or gestures, etc. That is known as encoding the matter, encoding the text, encoding the message. Now, the fourth step in the process is the media. It is the manner in which encoded the message is transmitted. The message may be transmitted orally or in writing. The medium communication includes telephone, internet, post, fax, email, etc. The choice of medium is decided by the sender. Everyone, see here the media, the medium. Which medium we are going to use for sending the message? It depends on a sender. Depend on a sender. Means we can send a message through the telephone, send a message through the internet, post, fax, email, and even by writing or by conveying orally too, we can send our messages. That is of medium. That is media. With the help of media, we communicate the people. Number 5, the step is decoding. The step 5. The process, fifth one process is decoding. It is the process of converting the symbols encoded by the sender. After decoding, the message is received by the receiver. Receiver who is sitting in front or who is listening the message, that person, that student will decode it. Decode means he will understand as per his IQ level or as per his understanding. He will decode the message. He will understand the message. Receiver. Receiver is here. He is the person who is the last in the chain, and for that the message was sent by the sender. Once receiver receives the message and understand it in a proper, perfect one and acts according to the message, only then the purpose of communication is successful. Purpose of communication is successful. The last one there is where the receiver understands. Who is there in the channel? The receiver is the one who is going to take it, understand, and communication is going to be completed. But the last one part is remained here, that is feedback. That is feedback. And the communication process never completes up to the feedback. If there is no feedback, there is no completion of the communication. There is no completion of communication process. In the feedback, receiver gives feedbacks. Who gives? Receiver gives feedbacks. Feedbacks, it may be in a positive way or it may be in a negative way. The feedback is must for the completion of the process. The receiver confirms to the sender that the received message, is it understood or not, means it's a given feedback to the sender. And this is the process of your communication. Now we are moving towards characteristics of communication. Characteristics of communication. These are the characteristics of communication. Communication involves at least two persons. At least. More than two, that is good. Communication is two-way process. The purpose of communication must be clear. The form of communication must be there and the scope of communication is needed. Communication is a dynamic process. Why it is dynamic process? Because A sender or a person who is giving you message, it must reach to the receiver. He should understand and he have to give or she has to give feedback to the message, and that only the completion and the successful communication it will be. The communication is much more than words. Students, just now we covered our definition of communication and process of communication. Now we are turning towards our next one point, that is types of communication. There are various types of communication. From that we are going to study verbal and non-verbal communication. First of all, we will understand what is meant by verbal. Verbal means use of words. When we are communicating with the others, that time we use words, and that communication is known as verbal communication. Verbal communication, the communication happens through verbally, vocally, or through written words which express or convey the message to other is known as verbal communication. This is a scientific one definition given in your text. See, clearly verbal means where when we talk to the next person with other people or more people, more than one or two people, that time when we use words to talk that person, that time it is known as verbal communication. Next, non-verbal communication, where there is no use of words, but we are going to communicate. But how? Non-verbally. The non itself tells us that there is no need of use of any word, but we can communicate. But how? We communicate with the people with the help of gestures, signs, symbols, body language, and facial expressions. Any communication without word of mouth spoken, without uttering a single word, we can communicate the people with the help of this non-verbal communication. It happens through signs, symbols, colors, gestures, body language, or any facial expressions. Nowadays, the students, you know, media, IT, and everything. So you are sending your emojis, high fives, everything with the help of all this non-verbal communication. You are not typing or you are not sending your voice messages, but with the help of this non-verbal communication, you are in touch with your colleagues, you are touching with your friends and all. So this is known as non-verbal communication. Now we will go for vertical, horizontal, diagonal communication. We will go for vertical, horizontal, diagonal communication. See here, the communication can be categorized as vertical, horizontal, diagonal. Initially, greater emphasis was directed at the vertical, that is organizational communication, as compared to the lateral communication, but that is no longer the case. Diagonal communication is an even more recent emphasis in the organizational communication. Now we will explain what is that types of communication again with the help of this picture. Horizontal means in a horizontally the communication is going on with colleague. That is horizontal communication. Vertically, it means that with head, assistant, then the people. Means head is there, in between the middle peoples are there to transmit his message. Then again the next people who are there, we can take the help, we can take the example of bigger one companies where we can't reach to the head so easily. In between we have to talk to the supervisor, then he will send our message to the head. Such a type of communication is there. It is known as vertical communication. When there are mediators, that is vertical communication, step by step communication. Now the diagonal communication, there is no need of one mediator. Directly when we will go for the giving our message directly to the head, it means diagonal communication. See in detail now horizontal communication. In this form of communication, it takes place among the peer groups that two people are included, And hierarchy is there in employee when there is such a type of communication is going to be used, often necessary to facilitate the coordination, save time and bridge communication gap among the various departments. Generally this form of communication is informal and can bypass the formal hierarchical channel, and that is the action. See here, the picture is given, the team leader vertically and the subordinates here, and lateral team colleague, other departments, and the center, this person is here center, and that is known as horizontal communication. Vertical communication, just now we had it, now we, with the help of the another image, we will see supervisors, that is downward to the subordinates, then again supervisor upward subordinates. See here, when supervisor will send a message to the subordinates again he will transmit the message, whatever his colleagues and the employees are going to tell, he will transmit upward to the supervisor, and such type of a communication is known as vertical communication. Last one, diagonal communication, and here we will end with type of communication. Thank you.